Brandon Calloway is 19 years old, the son of tech billionaire Richard Calloway. He walks into Judge Judy's courtroom wearing a $1,200 Gucci tracksuit and a limited edition Rolex Daytona, worth more than most people earn in a year. Within moments of taking his seat, he looks directly at Judge Judy, smirks, and says the words that seal his fate: "You can't embarrass me." What happens next isn't just a court ruling. It's a masterclass in how truth dismantles arrogance more effectively than any raised voice ever could. A calm, precise demonstration of why some people must be shown exactly who they are before they can understand what they've become. Before we reveal how Judge Judy systematically dismantled this young man's ego piece by piece, using nothing but facts and composure, hit the subscribe button. We're racing towards 600,000 subscribers. And this story of arrogance meeting accountability shows exactly why privilege always collides with reality. This isn't about anger. It's about the devastating power of truth spoken calmly, clearly, and without mercy. If you believe entitled rich kids need reality checks, leave a comment below. Because by the end of this video, you'll understand how Brandon's own words became his greatest enemy and why Judge Judy's response became legendary. So here's the question: when did confidence start being confused with arrogance? When did young people begin believing their parents' money made them untouchable? What happened to Brandon Calloway proves one thing: the louder you boast about being unbreakable, the harder you fall when someone finally calls your bluff. This isn't just a small claims case. It's the story of a young man who walked into court believing he was above embarrassment, above consequences, and above basic human decency. And Judge Judy, without raising her voice, without losing her composure, showed him, and everyone watching, that the most powerful weapon isn't anger, it's the truth. The bailiff calls the case. Carroll versus Calloway. At the plaintiff's podium stands Daniel Carroll. He's 19, wearing a borrowed suit that hangs slightly loose on his thin frame. A community college student, Daniel works 2 jobs, one at Pizza Hut and another as a weekend warehouse stocker just to keep up with tuition and rent. His hands tremble as he grips a folder of documents against his chest. This is his first time in a courtroom, and the weight of it shows in every movement. He isn't here because he wants to be. He's here because he has no other choice. Months earlier, his former best friend borrowed $2,850 and never paid it back. That money was Daniel's entire savings. It was meant to cover his textbooks and several months of rent. Instead, it brought him here standing across from someone who believed money made him untouchable. Instead, it vanished into the lifestyle of someone who never understood what money means to people who actually have to earn it. The defendant's side of the courtroom remains empty. Minutes pass. Judge Judy's eyes narrow slightly, the look longtime viewers recognize as a warning sign. Someone is about to learn a very expensive lesson about respect. Then the courtroom doors open. Brandon Calloway strolls in as if he's stepping onto a red carpet. An $890 off-white hoodie drapes over his shoulders. Balenciaga sneakers worth $1,200 hit the floor with careless confidence. Chrome hearts jewelry hangs around his neck, easily worth $3,500. His hair is freshly styled from a $200 salon visit. Cartier sunglasses, $650, rest on his head like a crown. In his hand, his iPhone lights up with notifications he scrolls through while walking. He's chewing gum. One AirPod remains in his left ear. Brandon doesn't acknowledge Daniel standing just feet away. He doesn't look at Judge Judy. He offers no apology for being late. No explanation. He leans against the podium, one hand in his pocket. His posture making it clear he believes he's doing everyone a favor just by showing up. Judge Judy has seen thousands of defendants, every flavor of arrogance, every shade of entitlement. But something about Brandon changes the air in the room. It's not just the lateness, not the expensive clothes, not even the phone. It's the complete lack of awareness that he's standing in a court of law. The absolute absence of any understanding that actions have consequences. Judge Judy watches him, her face perfectly neutral. She's been doing this long enough to know that some people reveal exactly who they are if you simply give them enough rope. Then her voice cuts through the courtroom, measured, calm, and far more dangerous than anger. "Mr. Calloway, good morning. I need your full attention right now." Brandon doesn't look up. His thumb keeps moving across his phone, typing out something he clearly believes is more important than the judge sitting in front of him. "Hang on. I'm finishing something important," Brandon says without lifting his eyes, without the slightest acknowledgement of the disrespect. The words hit the room like a bomb. Daniel flinches. The bailiff raises an eyebrow. An elderly woman in the gallery slowly shakes her head. Judge Judy doesn't raise her voice. "Mr. Calloway, put that phone away now, or you'll be watching this case from a jail cell." Brandon finally looks up, laughs. "Relax. Your Honor, I'm just telling my boys about this circus." He slides the phone into his pocket with exaggerated slowness, savoring the moment. The smirk never leaves his face. Judge Judy turns to Daniel. Her tone instantly softer, almost gentle by comparison. Double quotes, "Mr. Carroll, please tell me why we're here today." Daniel takes a shaky breath and begins. His voice starts out quiet, uncertain, but steadies as the story unfolds. 6 months earlier, Brandon had called him in a panic late on a Friday night. His Maserati had broken down on the Pacific Coast Highway. His father was overseas on business. His credit cards were supposedly frozen because of some banking issue he couldn't clearly explain. He needed $2,850 immediately before towing and storage fees climbed even higher. Brandon begged. Actually begged. He promised Daniel he'd pay him back within 2 weeks maximum. "I swear, bro. The second my dad gets back, the second my cards are unfrozen, you'll have your money plus interest for helping me out." Daniel believed him. They'd been best friends since 7th grade. They grew up together, countless nights playing video games, talking about their futures, having each other's backs. There was no reason not to trust him, so that Monday morning, Daniel went to the bank and withdrew his entire savings account, every dollar he'd earned from late shifts at Pizza Hut and weekend warehouse work. Money meant for textbooks, for rent, for emergencies, standing there on the side of the highway. While Brandon's Maserati sat strapped to the back of a tow truck, Daniel transferred the money straight into Brandon's Venmo account. Now, in court, Daniel lays out his evidence-printed text messages, bank statements, Venmo receipts, everything neatly organized with the care of someone who can't afford lawyers. The messages tell the story clearly. "I got you, bro. 2 weeks, max. Then, sorry, man. Next Friday for sure. Then, my assistant is handling it. Should hit Monday." The promises stretched into weeks. Then months. The tone shifted from apologetic to irritated that Daniel kept asking. 3 months ago, Brandon cut him off completely. Phone blocked. Social media blocked. Email ignored. Neil tried going to Brandon's fraternity house. Security turned him away. He contacted Brandon's father's company, desperate for any response. The assistant told him Mr. Calloway doesn't handle his son's personal matters. Just like that. Daniel was out $2,850, but no way to get it back. That money was supposed to last the entire semester. Instead, Daniel had to drop a class because he couldn't afford the textbook. He fell behind on rent. He picked up extra shifts and lost precious study time. His grades slipped. His life unraveled. All because the person he trusted most decided that $2,850 wasn't worth keeping his word as Daniel presents his evidence. Brandon barely looks at it. Judge Judy studies the documents carefully, every page, every receipt. Brandon, meanwhile, checks his expensive watch. The movement doesn't go unnoticed. Heads turn. Silent judgments fill the room. He shifts his weight from foot to foot like a bored child waiting for the bell to ring. As if this isn't a courtroom but an inconvenience delaying his real life. When Judge Judy finally looks up from the papers, her expression is completely unreadable, which somehow makes the tension even worse. "Mr. Calloway," she says evenly, "Mr. Carroll has provided substantial evidence of this loan. Text messages in which you promised repayment. Bank records showing the transfer. Venmo receipts clearly linked to your account. Do you dispute that you received this money?" Brandon shrugs. His hand drifts instinctively toward the pocket where his phone waits. "Look, I don't remember it exactly like that, but whatever. It was a long time ago. People forget small stuff." The words hang in the air like poison. Small stuff. Daniel's face falls. The pain is immediate and unmistakable. His realization that everything he sacrificed meant nothing to someone he once called a brother. Judge Judy's eyes narrow. Just slightly, dangerously. "Small stuff. Mr. Calloway." She pauses. $2,850 is small stuff to you. Brandon doesn't hesitate. His answer reveals everything. "I mean, technically, yeah, I probably owe it. But it's not like he needs it, you know? He's fine. Still alive. Still has a place to live somewhere. So what's the big deal about waiting a little longer?" A low murmur of disgust ripples through the courtroom. A man in a work uniform crosses his arms. The elderly woman in the gallery looks at Brandon with open contempt. Judge Judy says nothing. She lets the silence stretch, allows everyone to absorb what was just said. She lets Brandon stand there after telling a working student that his financial devastation simply doesn't matter. Then without raising her voice, Judge Judy begins the dismantling, calm, precise. "Surgical, Mr. Calloway," she says. "Let's talk about your family's wealth. You mentioned buildings with your name on them. Tell me more." Brandon straightens, suddenly energized. This is a subject he enjoys. "Yeah, my dad owns Calloway Technologies," he says casually. "The company's worth like $400 million. We have offices in 12 countries," Brandon adds. "I'm basically set for life." There's pride in his voice, real confidence built entirely on someone else's achievements. Judge Judy leans back slightly. Her expression still neutral. "You're set for life," she repeats. "Interesting." She tilts her head. "What exactly do you do, Mr. Calloway? What's your occupation?" Brandon hesitates, clearly confused by the question. "I'm in college," he says. "Stanford. Computer science." Judge Judy nods slowly. "So, you're a student. Who pays your Stanford tuition?" Brandon shifts in place. "Oh, my dad." That's what parents do. The courtroom goes silent. Everyone senses the direction this is heading. And who pays for your car? Judge Judy continues. "Your clothes, your lifestyle. Those expensive sneakers." Brandon's tone turns defensive. "My dad? So what?" Judge Judy's voice remains calm, most conversational. "So you personally have no income whatsoever? No job, no business. No independent source of money. Is that correct?" Brandon realizes he's being walked into a corner. "I'm a full-time student," he insists. "Students don't usually work." "That's normal." Daniel speaks up quietly from his podium. "I work 40 hours a week and go to school full-time." Brandon rolls his eyes dramatically. "Yak Community College." That's not the same thing as Stanford. A sharp gasp ripples through the gallery. The mask is gone now. Brandon has just revealed his contempt, not just for Daniel, but for anyone he sees as beneath him. Judge Judy's eyes narrow. "Mr. Calloway," she says firmly, "you've spent the last several minutes bragging about buildings with your name on them, about wealth you didn't create, and about being set for life." She pauses, letting the words sink in. "But every single thing you own, every dollar you've spent, every opportunity you've been given was paid for by someone else." Her voice sharpens. "You haven't earned a single dollar in your entire life." She leans forward slightly. "You're not a success. You're an allowance with an attitude problem." The words land like physical blows. Brandon's face flushes red. "That's not fair," Brandon snaps. "I'm getting an education. I'm preparing for my future. Just because I don't flip burgers doesn't mean I'm not working." Judge Judy reaches for a manila folder that's been resting quietly on her bench. "Actually, Mr. Calloway," she says calmly, "let's talk about how you're preparing for the future." The sudden change in direction catches Brandon off guard. "Do you have a driver's license?" "Yeah, of course I do," he replies. "Why?" Judge Judy opens the folder and begins reading from official-looking documents. "How many times has your driver's license been suspended?" Brandon stiffens. "That's not relevant to this case." Her voice hardens steel beneath the calm. "Answer the question, Mr. Calloway. How many times?" Brandon drops his gaze to his expensive sneakers. "Twice," he mutters. Judge Judy doesn't miss a beat. "Spent it the first time at 17 for street racing on the Pacific Coast Highway. You were clocked at 110 miles per hour in a 55 zone." The courtroom holds its breath. "Suspended a second time at 18 for driving under the influence. Blood alcohol content .12, well above the legal limit." She turns a page. "Both times, the charges were reduced from what they should have been. Both times, your father's very expensive attorneys made the problem disappear before it could affect your future." Judge Judy looks up. "You've actually been arrested 3 times total." "Mr. Calloway," her voice remains measured, almost gentle but devastating. 3 separate incidents where you broke the law, endangered other people, and faced no real consequences because your father's money made everything go away." The courtroom goes completely silent. Brandon stares at the floor. The swagger is gone-aced entirely. His hands grip the podium as if it's the only thing holding him upright. Judge Judy continues in that same calm, precise tone, the kind that makes every word cut deeper than anger ever could. "And now you stand in my courtroom having stolen from your best friend, someone who trusted you completely." Judge Judy begins, her voice steady, cutting through the tension like a blade. "And you have the audacity to tell me it doesn't matter because he's still alive and has a roof over his head. You have the nerve to dismiss his suffering as small stuff, as if it's inconsequential." She pauses, letting the words sink in. "You genuinely believe that because your father is wealthy, because you were born into privilege, you don't have to keep your promises to people you consider beneath you socially and economically?" Brandon tries to regain control. "Your Honor, with respect, this is getting off track. This is about a loan, not my life story. Can we just settle this?" Judge Judy raises an eyebrow. "Settle this? When you walked in here today, what did you expect?" Brandon hesitates. "I figured we'd talk about the money. I'd pay whatever fine, and that would be it." Judge Judy leans forward. "With whose money? Yours or your father's?" Brandon's face flushes. "Does it matter?" "Money is money." "It matters tremendously," Judge Judy says, voice sharp and calm. "You stealing from Daniel, then using Daddy's money to pay him back, isn't justice. It's moving numbers around while you learn nothing." She fixes him with a look that leaves no escape. "Mr. Calloway, what did you say about this courtroom?" About me? Brandon looks confused. I don't know what you mean. You called this a circus, Judge Judy continues. And you said something specific about embarrassment. Brandon's color drains. I might have said something. I was frustrated. Judge Judy pulls out her phone. You posted on Instagram while waiting outside. Would you like to read a tour, should I? Brandon's eyes widen. That was private. Nothing posted publicly is private, she replies, expression unchanged. Read it, with shaking hands. Brandon reads his own words aloud, about to sit through the most pointless court case ever. Some kid crying over pocket change? Judge Judy thinks she can lecture me. Newsflash, you can't embarrass me. I've been to the White House. This courtroom is community theater. I'm untouchable. The courtroom is silent. Daniel covers his face. Judge Judy takes back her phone. You can't be embarrassed. You're untouchable. Is that what you believe? Brandon's voice cracks. I was venting. Everyone posts stuff they don't mean. Judge Judy shakes her head slowly. No, you meant every word. Her voice remains calm, somehow more devastating because it is controlled. Embarrassment isn't loud. It isn't dramatic. Real embarrassment is standing in a room where everyone sees you exactly as you are. No expensive clothes to hide behind. No father's money to shield you. No lawyers to make problems disappear. Judge Judy continues. Just you, exposed. Everyone seeing that you're not special, not untouchable. You're just a young man who's never been told no, never faced real consequences, and believes being born wealthy makes you better than people who actually work for money. Brandon tries to speak, but she doesn't let him. Look around, Mr. Calloway. Every person here sees you now, not as a Calloway, not as someone headed to Stanford, not as someone with a bright future. They see a boy who steals from friends, breaks laws, hides behind lawyers, and looks down on working people while living off someone else's money. That, she says, her voice calm but deadly precise, is real embarrassment. You did it to yourself. The gallery is silent. Faces show universal contempt. Brandon trembles. His expensive outfit suddenly looks ridiculous. His swagger is gone. Judge Judy delivers the judgment with finality. I find in favor of the plaintiff, Daniel Carroll. You will pay him $2,850 immediately for the loan you stole, because your behavior in this courtroom has been so spectacularly disrespectful. I am awarding the maximum penalty allowed by law. Total judgment, $5,000. Judge Judy's response is ice. Then earn it. Get a job. Work for it, like Daniel does every day. Experience trading your time for money instead of asking Daddy for handouts. This must be paid by you personally within 90 days, not by your father. If he pays it, I will hold you in contempt. Brandon's face crumples. How am I supposed to earn $5,000 in 90 days? Judge Judy's answer is simple. The same way millions earn money. Maybe at Pizza Hut, like Daniel. Maybe stocking shelves. Maybe you'll finally understand what it means to earn something instead of having everything handed to you. Daniel straightens. Vindicated, Judge Judy looks Brandon in the eye one final time. You walked in here believing I couldn't embarrass you. You were wrong. I didn't have to embarrass you. I held up a mirror and let everyone see who you really are. That is the most embarrassing thing of all. The gavel falls. Brandon stumbles toward the door, stripped of confidence. He's just a young man who finally understands that money can't buy respect. If this reminded you that character matters more than bank accounts, hit subscribe. Judge Judy proved you don't need to raise your voice to destroy arrogance. Sometimes all you need is calm, unflinching truth. This is what happens when entitlement meets accountability. This is Brandon Calloway's story, a reminder that you can't buy your way out of being a bad person. Hit that like button if you believe everyone should face consequences equally.